Hello my friends and viewers, thank you for watching my video. So as most of you that are watching this know, I have a 2001. At first I thought, he told me a 99, just looking at the door stamp said August of 2000, so I figured a 2000, but it's really actually, when I ran the VIN, is actually 2001 Ford E350 at the PowerStroke. And anyway, if you've been following this, you know that the block was cracked in two places because he left water in it to freeze and bust during the winter time. And essentially, he's looking at about a complete rebuild. And since talking to him last week, he told me that he'd get me paid Monday to get the parts in. So, guys, we're actually going to go ahead. So, that means we're going to get to go ahead and do a complete rebuild. So, here I got a clip where I've uncovered all the junk off of the two spare blocks that I have sitting, and here's what they look like and all. What I've decided to go with here is the block that had the lowest mileage, and also the least amount of ring wear on the and the least amount of ring wear on the pistons is this block that came out of a 94.5 F250. Most of you all probably didn't know anything about that little adventure, because that was before I was making videos of work that I was doing. But here's the block. Yeah, it's a little dirty. We'll get it all nice and cleaned up. There is a minor amount of surface rust on it, as is there on the other one too, but that's because these were sitting in here during the winter, and there it was, and water condensates on this stuff when it's cold. So we'll get this all cleaned up for the guy and get all of his stuff put back up in it. We'll do a good inspection on it and make sure there's nothing wrong with it, of course, but the engine this truck came out of was parted because it was just an outright rust bucket. We'll get this head gasket material and everything scrubbed off this block, and this block all cleaned up. Actually, as far as oil and stuff goes, it's cleaner than my 97 was. We also have to get a freeze plug and plug up the hole where the fuel pump used to be. And here's a set of heads over here. We'll also have to do a lot of cleaning to get those cleaned up. And if we go back here, we'll see there's his old heads. I'm going to get the valves out of them and look at those compared to the valves that are in his donor heads, and make a determination what to do there. I'm really glad that the guy decided that he wanted to get exhaust manifolds too, even though you really pretty much have to, because they would leak, because those bolts are so seized on there, it's unreal. So anyway, I'm going to work today, August the 15th, on finishing getting that one cleaned up, and we'll get it, I'll sand it down and everything, as well as getting the heads cleaned and sanded, and we'll see which valves are better, the ones that he had in his heads or the valves that's in the head that I have, and we'll just go from there on that. And hopefully I can get these parts ordered by Monday, and hopefully I can get all of them in by the end of the week, next week, and hopefully I can get at least started on it, and so we'll just have to see what happens from here and go from there. Also got to do a little bit of fabrication work to make him a cold air intake, since he doesn't have one on there, so that might take just a minute. It's real easy on the trucks, but I'm not done on the van, so first time for everything. Yeah, I know a lot of you all are wondering, so what's something like this cost? Well, with our blocks, block and heads, I mean, like, you're looking around somewhere at around $2,500 and more for parts. I'm not going to go ahead and quote what this guy paid for his, because prices aren't always the same everywhere, so I'm not even going to bother there. But if you're going to rebuild one of these, you're going to want to do it right. And I mean, you're not going to get away without spending at least probably $1,000 in your parts if you do have to rebuild your engine. But depending on what happens afterwards, you know, because you know you don't always have to take out your injectors and things of that nature. But on this one, you know, it needed rings in that, and most all the seals on the thing's going to be replaced. So. You know, in the end, he's getting a really good deal on this engine being overhauled, and it's going to be just a little bit for the next video on this van rolls out. Here's some other footage and stuff that I may or may not have shared. It's mostly just the condition of his engine and things like that. So I walked down the deck just a little bit on this block, and I wanted to show you this crack again, just a little more detail. It starts right there. And then it goes all the way over to right there. I'm going to flip the head over from this side, and we're going to look at that next. So, see what kind of damage maybe we can see on that thing. So, here's the driver's side head from this van here. The valves really don't look bad. That's the only valve with any kind of discoloration to it at all. I took the head gasket off, and I rubbed it down a little bit, and it doesn't look bad on this one. Oh, here's the passenger side. That was on the side of the block that cracked, and before I took the head gasket off, you could tell where the crack was, but once I took it off, it looks like it didn't cracked the head when the block cracked. But there's our stuck glow plug. But this head here is totally trashed because it's definitely out of shape, even if it's not cracked, because the fuel injectors were much more difficult to get out of it than they were the driver's side. But these valves here on the passenger side, however, I mean, they look really good. I mean, we just clean that soot off of them, and they probably shine right up. I probably will go ahead and pull the valves out of the head and check that. Well, there is a little discoloration on this valve, sorry. But probably pull the valves out of these heads. They're probably still good. I appreciate y'all for following this project here, and you know, I've got all kinds of other videos on my YouTube. Just check out the front page there. I've got most of them categorized into playlists that are pretty easy to find. So anyway, appreciate your time. And any comments that you have, suggestions, I always appreciate those. I try my best to interact with all my viewers, you know. Sometimes it gets a little difficult, and it might take me a week or two even to get to you. I do get quite a bit of responses, but you know, I do actually appreciate those. May the Lord Jesus Christ richly bless and guide you all. Have a great rest of your weekend.